Hello, I am John Fair from Quintessence Audio, and I'm going to show you the new DS Audio Eccentricity Detector. So, if any of you have ever seen a photograph of a diamond in a groove of a record, that photo is taken with an electron microscope. So you can imagine how small that vibration is that a needle is picking up. Now imagine that diamond sitting in a groove, and the pressing of the record is done slightly off center. The hole could be centered on the vinyl, but the grooves, when they pressed it, actually moved slightly, so they're slightly off. So what ends up happening is the needle is bouncing to the left and right in that groove, hitting the sides of the groove. And if you're looking at it at the microscopic level, that's huge. And if you can see the head shell of the cantilever moving back and forth, that's an enormous amount of movement. So what we have is the Eccentricity Detector by DS Audio. And what this will do is it will emit several light beams out onto the vinyl and analyze how off-center the vinyl is, or the grooves on the vinyl are. All we do is put it on, start the record playing. We hold this steady, press tap to measure. Right. So we start analyzing it, and we can see right away that that crosshair is bouncing around well out of center, and it's in the red, which is bad. There's varying degrees of red. When you get better, it goes to yellow, and then it goes to green. And if it's within, I can't remember, 20 or 40 microns of being perfect, it will tell you the record is great to play. So what we do, we've analyzed it. We stop the turntable from spinning. And all we have to do, we can see that the record is off in this direction. And all we have to do is push it. And now you're moving it very little. There's usually enough play in the vinyl hole to allow it to move where you need it. On some bad records, you may have to ream out the hole a little bit, and they give you a tool to do that. The comment from customers is, why would I ruin my vinyl? And the answer is, the vinyl is already defective, and you are doing what you need to do to make it better. So now we've got it as close to center as we can, given how much the record can move on the spindle. We could always ream the hole out a little bit more, probably get that a little closer to the middle. But you can see the before and after. We went from thicker red to smaller green, and this movement is much, much smaller. So it's going to be bouncing around in there a lot less. So this is actually going to be pretty good. This would be a big difference sonically. My first reaction when we saw this product is, well, if you've got a bad pressing, buy another one. What we've learned is, so far every record we've tested is imperfect, and this will correct for at least a good degree of that imperfection. And it is sonically very audible. Things like vocals, before you treat it, are big. They're kind of a smeared image. And you're reducing distortion by getting it to track better. So images become more focused, the backstage becomes quieter, and you hear more subtle details. Now the record is centered, or at least as centered as we can make it, and it is ready to play. The stabilizer now becomes your record weight and clamp. You leave that on when playing, and that's how it keeps it from moving. We had a Dire Straits album which was actually pressed very well, and the movement before and after was very small, but even that little movement was clearly audible.